All right, so let's just settle into a comfortable seated position. And just check where you're at this evening. Feet flat on the floor. Just feel the weight of the legs in your feet. Be sitting right on top of your sits bones. Your arms can be resting in a comfortable position on your lap. Shoulders are aligned with the hips. And now just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So just imagine you're lengthening your spine, putting some space in between those vertebrae. And take a nice deep breath. And bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp, the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, back of the head, back of the neck, and allow your shoulders and your shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And bring the mind back to the breath. Just notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. Be aware of any sounds in your environment and just allow those sounds to be there. Just try not to follow them with the mind. And then just notice the thoughts that might be arising. And notice the speed at which the thoughts are arising. Are you kind of slowly meandering around, or are you kind of speedy this evening? Just know that however it is you're turning up this evening, it's all perfectly fine. And then just being aware of trying not to follow the thoughts or criticize yourself or have opinions. Take a nice step back and just watch, observe. And just imagine we're sitting on the bank of a river. And just watch that river flow on by. Notice the quality of the water. As you realize that while you're sitting on the bank, you're free from the river. And remember to bring to mind all the people of your life, the loved ones, siblings, children, parents, spouses, your best friends. And then there's those people in our lives that we have some aversion for, or irritation, or maybe they've just harmed you. They're dangerous for you. And then there's our strangers. They all change place. They can, depending on our karma. In this world of impermanence. Things change all the time, and relationships change. And then, regardless of the relationship you have with any one of these particular people at this particular time, just remember they're all equal. They have this wish to be happy and this wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So we'll do this meditation this evening for the benefit of all these people of our life, and just bring to mind again our dear Hin, who's not with us tonight. By the way, David also sent his apologies. He's attending a teaching in Los Angeles tonight at the center there. You can think of maybe the people in the Middle East right now, anybody in a war zone. Anybody else you want to think about. And just think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is a psychological one. We create negativity with our minds, so we can equally change that by creating positivity instead. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech. And then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience. So we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove those karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. I also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor. So in this case, it's the Buddha Vajrasattva, who we see as a doctor, not like a higher power, not someone who's going to come along and rescue us, not someone who needs to forgive us. This is just a Buddha, an energy source who has these methods that we can use, that we can apply on this particular plane that we're on right now of existence to purify ourselves. So here is our Buddha. It's actually made of light. So you imagine this something similar to what you see in front of you on the crown of your head, facing the same way as you, a couple of inches above. And some of us have this idea that we're not very good at, visualizing or something like that. I can't really see it, but it's just that maybe that part of the brain hasn't been exercised. Maybe you've been using other parts of your brain, and vice versa. Maybe those of you who are really good at visualizing and not particularly good at other things. But it's just because I don't know how we turned out. But it is possible to train ourselves. We have this extraordinary thing in our mind called neuroplasticity. So just try. Just imagine this ball of light on the crown of the head with this energy of this Vajrasattva, who also you can also see them as the mind of your teacher, manifesting in this form for your benefit. So you don't have to see all the detail. It's just enough to know they're there. And you can imagine you sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. Has a beautiful face. His eyes are long and peaceful. They're full of compassion. He's just accepting you exactly as you are turning up this evening. It's all good. And he has an equal expression of love and compassion for all those beings in your life, even the ones you don't like. Hey, why are you smiling at that person? No. has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So we have this little section that also comes under reliance called compassion, because in order to develop compassion, we do need to rely upon other beings, so the very beings we've harmed and those who have harmed us, and particularly those ones, because the harm they've caused us is going to manifest as some kind of suffering for them in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine of doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely, and it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as you recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Dita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tatagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Dita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tatagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Dita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tatagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Dita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tatagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Dita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tatagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Dita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tatagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahom pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And the next is the purification of your speech, and imagine Vajrasattva again very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying, talking about people behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Dita me boa, Sitokaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anorakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kamasita me, Sitam Triam Kuru hum ha ho bhagawan, Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a humpe, Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, Vajrasapa dinapatita, Dita me boa, Sitokaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anorakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kamasita me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasedi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dita meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan. Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech, including yourself and including what you write, how you communicate. So the next is a purification of the mind, and imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately now sending powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So just imagine it's the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on that light switch, that light instantly dispels the darkness in the room, doesn't it? So it's the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment and neediness and bitterness and depression, anxiety, resentment, grudges, all instantly dispelled. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya Vajrasapa dina patita Dita meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya Vajrasapa dina patita Dita meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya Vajrasapa dina patita Dita meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya Vajrasapa dina patita Dita meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya Vajrasapa dina patita Dita meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, and think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time you imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe. So now feel you are completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And so now we come to the power of resolve. And this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. And it's a really crucial one, is this determination to try and refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And without this, we keep doing the same old things, this same old energy patterns. And this determination, this aspiration to not harm again is like a beacon that guides our body, our speech, and our mind in new directions. And so remember, as Lama Zopa Rinpoche used to say, everything exists on the tip of the wish, the aspiration. So as for our other old habits, if we can't commit, fully, we just start very slowly and think, well, okay, so I'll just refrain from that for 30 seconds, or I'll think about working on that for 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be a big thing. And, you know, it's layers of the onion. The deeper we go, the more we'll find. And we just start slowly, humbly, and eventually we'll get there. So this determination to not, you know, to refrain from doing things is what gives us the strength to change. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light. It just absorbs into you through your crown. You think my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And then Rinpoche would recommend that at the end of every practice, we meditate on the emptiness of the three circles. In emptiness, there is no I, the creative negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level your mind understands emptiness, just place it there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. And let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So I'm wondering if how Coral is. Did anyone see her tonight? Was she in the teaching? She wasn't very well. So anyway, just dedicate for Coral, for him, and for anybody else, and then just wish for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for any of your own teachers, and for ourselves as we move along our path. Okay, thank you, everybody. Small group tonight, lots of love, sleep well, and I will see some of you tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we are going to do one of the mindfulness meditations called Mindfulness Through Touch.